make a statement about what poetry is, right? You say about what your art is, and you write, I be kicking musician, inflicting composition. That is a description of poetry as having a particular kind of power. And I wonder if you could talk about that, the young you who said that. What was that? What's that about?
It's like my ID card. It's like, all right, listen to the song, but remember, I'm a poet and I'm the best. Like my ID says, it's like you put in a line or two that well, hip hop is, again, it's competitive. It's me letting other MCs know
I'm a poet.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a poet and I'm the best. That's what you're saying. Like hip hop is all about I'm the best. So everyone's saying that they're the best because it's just the way, it's like, this is why I'm great and this is why you want to hear me talk, because I'm telling you things you never heard before, and that's what makes me great, because I'm on another level.
As soon as I started to study you, I could see what an extraordinary American poet you are. It's sometimes not fair to ask artists about the process of composition.
Okay.
Is the process of composition for you highly emotional, everything firing? Is it slow and deliberate?
It's the emotion, the energy of my being. That's part of it, and the other part is anything I learned in public school and about writing. And
what did you learn in public school about writing?
I mean, words, meanings of words, spelling, and that's all I needed to
I see.
be able to put the lines down so I can put the words to the line. So the words, depending on how many words you know, you're not going to be able to express yourself if you don't find the words that can really pinpoint your feeling, the thing that you're trying to get out. So when you don't have those words, it's cool because you find ways to use your limited amount of words to say more. And just by showing you how much more I can give you with this short vocabulary.
What you describe is exactly what poets have said since the beginning of time, that accepting constraints, working within, and I would think, you do work within a form, right? And so you have to kind of navigate around. What you said was, again, so interesting to me, because on the one hand, you began by saying you learned in public school, and that was all you need. You had which is to say that just sort of having the basic building blocks of language is enough.
Yeah, it's that, and it's the way my elders would say words, the emphasis they put on certain words. It's the way they said how the afternoon was going. It's, you can hear more than what they're saying. You can hear that they didn't go to work today. You can hear that work sucked today. You can hear that how they're feeling.
As I was studying you, I was thinking about all the other poets, all the other New York poets, beginning with Walt Whitman, poet of Brooklyn, Frank O'Hara, poet of Midtown, Allen Ginsberg, poet of the Upper West Side, Langston Hughes, poet of Harlem. Thinking about all of these poets, many of whom use long, long lines that have the length of the avenues, right? And the complexity that your lines have. It's like I live in a complicated place where stuff is always happening.
Right.
Would you mind trying to read a little Whitman? Yeah. You can read him like Nas.
Oh, like me, hi.
You read him like you. Well, I was thinking, this is all sort of urban stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
It's real.
The blab of the pave, the tires of carts, and slough. I don't even know what slough is, right? Carts, and it makes me want to look it up.
Yeah, and that's right.
Cool word. And slough of boot soles, and talk of the promenaders, the
Sure.
clink of the shod horses on the granite floor. Man, this dude is.
This dude is good.
But what I like about it is he's descriptive,
Yep.
and part of my thing has always been details.
And Whitman writes in these long, long lines that seem to suggest, as your poetry does, that he's only saying part of what he sees, right? The avenue keeps going on
Right.
further and further. And he's only saying part of what he sees, but gosh, even in this one square block,
Wow.
there's so much crammed.
Yeah, the lyrics represent that. It represents where I live, like the buildings. It's like
Yeah.
what I see is how I write.
What you add to Whitman, I think you write Whitmanian lines that have all the humility about the city that Whitmans have, and all the kind of energy to process the city.
I would love to talk to you again because you've definitely enlightened me about things, and I never
I'd love to talk to you
studied
again.
poetry, and it's something that I always felt like I always had to, one day take the time to do it because it's what I do, but I never had the time, never took the time, I don't read much poetry. I don't even like spoken word poets. I don't even watch it. I understand that nothing against them. I know
Right.
that they're great. I did see some that maybe go, wow, that was amazing, but it's not my thing to watch.
Right.
I feel like they're really good. And I feel like I don't know what I do. I just do it. I just write. But these things and then talking to you again, I think it'd be good for me.
I'd love that. I would so love that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, Tariq, one of the things you did with your students that I thought was quite cool is in a certain way you took the poem apart and you began to create new juxtapositions.
Found poetry, right.
And you let them think about juxtaposition and how it works by looking at new adjacencies. I guess I should pause and say, we're talking about structure now. And the lesson that you did today in your class much of it was about structure.
Right.
And I believe that you drew on some of Naz's structural ingenuity to help your students understand that.
Right. Well, yeah, not to put you on the spot, but we did Nas's Like, which is, I don't know if you've had a chance to think about that song in relationship to this piece, but it's amazing the parallels because, there's death and birth in the first verse, you know what I mean? You have like heaven and hell. You have all these things that you're like comparing or juxtaposing, right? And it's the same thing that he's doing here. It's seen, at the top here is the person, there's the baby that's sleeping in the cradle, and you say a baby's being born the same time another's murdered. So it's like all right there. And then even like in the lines below, right, it says the suicide sprawls on the bloody floor of the bedroom. Right. And you talk about the suicide in the jail, right?
Yeah.
So, and again, the details, right? You talk about specific things in texture for each of those moments that you're describing, right? So I couldn't help but, once I thought of that, I couldn't help but put that as part of the lesson.
And how did it go?
It was cool. In some ways, because my students are more comfortable with the hip hop tropes, I think they went there a lot quicker in terms of understanding like the purpose of the comparisons, right? So it was really cool to watch them get that and understand like Nas from a literary perspective.
That's right.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was real cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they understood that he was an artist crafting a song they probably know that he rhymes, that he's an amazing virtuoso rhymer, but that so many of your effects do come from slamming together discordant elements and juxtaposing and forcing collision rather than smoothing.
So what's that about for you? I mean, when you were, I mean, I was a long time ago, that song, but
Right.
I mean, in general, like, what's that about for you? Like putting things together like that?
I think because of the song title, Nas is like, when DJ Premier came up with that concept, then my job was to say what I'm like and write about, you know, who I am and what I'm like. And it's like, I think we're all multiple things. We're like, you know, I like nice things. I watch a film about animals being slaughtered for food for people, you know, to go in the supermarkets, and I watch the cruel way that most of them are slaughtered. And then I also can make reservations to dinner to go to a steakhouse the same day. And it's not that I don't care about those animals. I watched the film because I do care about those animals. But just in a matter of hours, you know, the day goes on and you're doing different things, and you may forget what you just saw because, you know, in other words, you know, there's good and bad in everything. And you know, I guess I'm someone who's kind of like, I wanted to write about all the different parts of me. There's good in me, there's bad, just like anybody else. I mean, not bad, but you know, there's gonna be two sides to everything, and I just tried to write it like that.
And that diversity and complexity of the self actually also, in my opinion, puts you right in Whitman's tradition, right? There's this great acceptance of all of the phenomena in the world and all of the different parts of the self.